What's up, y'all? It's your girl Jerica, and I am back with yet another Ghetto Bible tale. And today we're gonna talk about Joseph. So get ready for this one. Before we can get into the story of Joseph, y'all already know how this goes. We must first discuss the rules of context. I have a video that is dedicated to the rules of context. I will link that video in the description box. Please go watch it. Rule number 1 is language. The Bible wasn't originally written in English. It was originally written in ancient Hebrew and ancient Greek. Keep that in mind whenever you're reading the Bible. Rule number 2 is history and culture. The history and culture of the Bible is of ancient Israel, not American culture, not England culture, not Indian culture, ancient Israel. Please do not apply your modern day culture and rules to the Bible because it would not work. Rule number 3 is reading the Bible as a whole. Don't cut, copy, paste different bits and pieces of the Bible. Don't do that. Read it from the whole, Genesis to Revelations, beginning to end. Okay? The final rule of context is the Holy Spirit. In order to understand anything in this Bible, you must first talk to the Lord your God and ask him to bestow his Holy Spirit upon you so that he can be a teacher and teach you how to read this book. Once you gain an understanding of the rules of context, we can proceed on in our story. Alright, y'all. The story of Joseph happens across the latter parts of the book of Genesis. However, Joseph is a very, very long story. And if I were to sit here and tell y'all the whole story of Joseph, it'd probably take about 2 hours. So, because of that very reason, the story of Joseph is going to be split into 3 parts, okay? So this is part 1. And part 1 starts in the book of Genesis, chapter 37. All right? One of my goals with this story is to humanize the people of the Bible. We make the mistake of calling them characters. And if you believe that Christ is real, then you believe that every person that is mentioned in this Bible lived and breathed and walked God's green earth. So I want to humanize them, and I want y'all to realize that they are not characters. These were real people of God. Just wanted to say that. Anyway, the story takes place in Genesis chapter 37, and that is where we meet Joseph. He is 17 years old at this point, and he's the second youngest child of Jacob. Jacob, aka Israel, and his mom's name is Rachel, and she died during childbirth of her and Jacob's second child, Benjamin. So we all know, history tells us that Rachel was the woman that Jacob was in love with. He had 4 women, but she was the one that he was really in love with. And because of his love for her, he favored their children the most. And their children was Joseph and Benjamin. Jacob had 13 children between 4 women. 13 or 14. I think it's 13. 13 children. 13 children between 4 women. But out of all those children, like I said, his favorite was Joseph. And to show his love for Joseph, he made him a tunic of many colors. So, mistake number 1 for Jacob. I like to do this because I've done something on Jacob before with his relationship with his children and his history of fatherhood. I will link that video in the description box. The one about Jacob's daughter, Dinah. But anyway, I want to highlight Jacob's mistake because he is the patriarch of this family and he is the head of this family. And I feel like a lot of things wouldn't have happened if he had been doing what he was supposed to be doing. So the biggest mistake that Jacob made was that he favored Joseph. Parental favoritism. Don't do that. That causes division between your children. That causes trauma to your children. And honestly, it is stupid. How you gonna favor one of the other when all of them come from you? Like, I think that's stupid and that is very irresponsible. So if you're a parent, do not do that. And because of Jacob favoring Joseph in this manner, it caused hatred to brew within his family. So the way it was basically, you know, with Joseph being Jacob's favorite, he never had to work a day in his life. He didn't have to work. And all the other brothers did. And that was one thing that really pissed them off. That's why they didn't like him. So basically, all the other boys had to work out in the field and this, that, and the third. And Jacob would send Joseph to like watch them and see what they doing. So basically, he was like an overseer of his older brothers. Because like I said, Joseph is the second youngest. So he's one of the young ones, and he's not made to do any work. All the other boys are doing work. Meanwhile, he's standing over them, basically being an overseer. And he run back and report little stuff to Jacob, whatever they say and do that he feels out of line. So basically, he don't do no work, and he a snitch. So of course, all the other boys hate him. They hate him. Like, where I'm from, stitches get stitches. So I know they don't like him. And also, they dislike the fact that he was their dad's favorite. Like, they were jealous of him in a lot of ways. And like I said, this would not have come about if it wasn't for Jacob openly, outwardly showing favoritism toward Joseph. So Joseph was a dreamer, and he had prophetic dreams often. And whenever he had a dream, he would tell everybody about it. So he had a dream. His first dream was that they were all standing in a field of wheat, and Joseph's sheaf of wheat stood upright, while the brothers' sheaf of wheat bowed down to his. So basically, he predicted his future status. So the dream was telling him that he was going to be over them, and they were all going to bow to him. Like a little dummy, he went and told that to his brothers, and I don't know if Joseph is just naive or he just didn't realize how much his brothers actually hated him, because they really didn't like him. And then you're gonna go tell them a story of how you're gonna be basically, oh, you had a dream that you're gonna be over them and they gonna be bowing to you. Like, so mistake number 2 in this story is when Joseph shares his dreams, because when God gives you something, you ain't got to tell everybody. Move in silence. Everybody don't need to know your business. Everybody don't need to know what you gonna do. Jesus himself said, don't let your left hand know what your right hand doing. Joseph should not have said nothing. He shouldn't even told his brothers, what he dreamed about, because it wasn't none of their business. But a part of me kind of felt like Joseph was kind of being a little prideful, because ain't no way he didn't know that they didn't like him. Ain't no way he didn't know that he was his daddy's favorite. Like, he knew, and he kind of rubbed their nose in it. After that, Joseph has another dream, and in this dream he says that the sun, the moon, and the stars bowed to him. And this made everybody mad, including his daddy. The brothers was mad. The stepmamas was mad, because his mama is dead. And the daddy was mad. Everybody's mad. It was just like, who do you think you are? That everybody gonna be bowing to you. You ain't nobody. So once again, Joseph round here, beating on his chest and puffing his chest up, telling everybody that he gonna be this, that, and the third, when he should just kept that to himself, in my opinion. The next day, the brothers are going to tend the flock of sheep. For those of you that don't know, Jacob's family have a lot. They're basically what's called a wealthy family back in the day. They had a lot of livestock, a lot of people, a lot of slaves, they were rich basically. So they had a lot of things that need to be taken care of. And the boys, they went off to take care of the flocks or whatever. And of course, Jacob sends Joseph behind to check on them, to see what they doing, to make sure they doing what they supposed to be doing at the time they supposed to be doing, basically being their overseer. So he going to be their supervisor. The younger brother is supervising the older brothers. So the other ones, they are in Dothan, I guess this is how you say that. They're in Dothan. So Joseph went there as well. And when the brothers saw him from afar, that's when they got the bright idea to kill him. So they was like, we could just tell daddy that somebody killed him or a beast got him, because he's like, I guess he's like far away and they can see him like rolling up on a horse or whatever he riding on to get there. And they was like, you know what, this is the opportune moment for us to kill him, and we could just tell daddy that a beast got him while he was on the road. Reuben, who is the oldest of all the boys, he is Jacob's first child with Rachel's sister. I think her name is Leah, the wife that God actually picked for Jacob. But anyway, Reuben, who is the oldest of all Jacob's kids, he was like, you know, we don't need to kill him. We could just, you know, put him in a hole and just leave him there and let him die. So Reuben didn't want any bloodshed. He just wanted to, you know, just put Joseph in a hole and then we just leave him there. But what the other brothers didn't know was Reuben didn't want Joseph to die. So what he was going to do was he was going to convince them to put Joseph in a pit, and they was going to leave him there, and Reuben was going to turn around and come back and get Joseph and bring him home. That was what Reuben formulated in his mind as the plan that he thought was going to work, was that, oh, I can just convince the brothers not to kill him, and then, you know, I'll just come back and get him. That's what he thought was going to work. So the brothers agreed to throw him in a pit, right? So they snatch his clothes off of him and they throw him in the pit, and then they sat down and ate. Like they had a little picnic while he's sitting in the pit.
Y'all saw that Lakers game? The boy bad.
Judah was the one that suggested that they kill Joseph. And Reuben was the one that was like, nah, don't kill him. We're just going to throw him in a pit and leave him there to die. And Reuben left. I don't know if I mentioned that, but he left. The other ones sat down to eat. And while they sitting there eating, some people rolled by. And Judah, again, lock the name down in your head. Judah says, ding, 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 ding. I mean, let's make some money off of him. Judah decides, let's sell Joseph into slavery. They sell Joseph to the Arabs for 20 shekels. I don't know how much that is. That don't sound like a lot to me, because it's like 10 of them. 10? I think it's 10 of them. Yeah, it's 10 of them because it's one girl. Yeah, I think it's 10 of them. Well, 9 because Reuben left. So it's 9 of y'all. Is 20 shekels even enough to split between 9 people? I don't know. But they sold their brother into slavery for 20 shekels. So they sold him and then they left. Reuben comes back because, like I said, his plan was for Joseph not to die. So he convinced them to throw him in a pit, and then he was gonna come back and get him and take him home. So when Reuben come back, he looked down in the pit. Ain't no Joseph. And he was like, you know how them old school men did in the Bible, you know, they ripped their clothes. Ah! So he ripped his clothes, and that is when the brothers come up with the perfect cover-up plan, which is to take the tunic that Jacob made for Joseph, dip it in goat blood and take it home and tell their dad that he was murdered by some beast and they can't find the body. So Joseph is sold to Potiphar. And he's a slave. And that is the end of part 1 on our study of Joseph. Now, I want to kind of highlight Joseph's pride and Jacob's mistakes because when most people read the story about Joseph, they say, well, he didn't do nothing wrong. I feel like there was a bit of pride in him bragging to his brothers about his dreams, and then how he was already the favorite child and he was elevated and uplifted above them. And I kind of feel like he was being a little snobby, and that really pushed the hatred of his brothers. And I want to reiterate Jacob's mistake, because I feel like Jacob should not have shown favoritism toward Joseph, because that created a divide within his family. Them other kids hated him. They hated Joseph. And you know, the hate had to be so deep that they plotted to kill him. And like only one of them was like, nah, we shouldn't kill him. But all of them collectively were like, I hate that dude and I want him to die. Like, you know how much division you had to cause within your family to make your children hate each other that bad. And I know, and you can, if you read a lot of Genesis, you will see Jacob's favoritism toward Joseph and them. Because I remember back an earlier part of Genesis when he was going to meet his brother, he was scared. So what he did was he put the other families on the front line. So basically that they would die first. If somebody was attacked, they would die first. And he put Joseph and Rachel in the back, because I don't think Benjamin was born yet. But he put Joseph and Rachel in the back, and he put Leah and her kids in the front. Then he put the other two servant maidens and their kids like behind them, so that his favorites would get killed last and be able to get away. Like Jacob's mistake is that he even showed favoritism toward Joseph, and that created this divide within his family where everybody else in the family freaking hate Joseph because of how much Jacob loved him. I ain't saying that hatred is justified, but what I'm saying is him as a patriarch and the head of a family and the head of a household should have never openly showed favoritism like that. And not only that, he didn't make Joseph work. Joseph didn't work at all. So all them other boys are out there working in the ground, in the fields, tilling the ground, and then he appoints Joseph over them to supervise them and snitch on them if they do something wrong. You are further creating a divide, and you are making your children hate each other. And I just feel like that was the biggest mistake that Jacob could have ever made. And now, while we on the topic of who made mistakes, I feel like Joseph was a tad bit snobby. I think that there is no way he was naive to the fact that his brothers was jealous of him. There was no way that he was naive to the fact that he was treated differently. There's no way. There's no way he received gifts when the other brothers didn't get nothing. Like there is no way that he didn't know. I really don't think that I think that he knew, and I think that he wanted to, cause come on, all of us have younger siblings that'll do something that irk your nerves on purpose. So I just kind of feel like him even telling his brothers them dreams about how he gonna be over them and all of that, I feel like that was a tad bit snobby and prideful coming from him. So I mean, he ain't all the way like, because most people like to say he ain't do nothing. I feel like he did kind of foster the hate a little bit. Just a little bit, because Joseph could easily say, well, Dad, I can work the field too. No. He ain't never say that. He just went out there to oversee the other ones. But anyway, that is part 1. Please tune in for part 2 of Joseph's story. But thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm on all social media pages at Ghetto Bible Tales. If you want to request a story, you can leave a comment on this video, or you can go to ghettobibletails.com and leave a request there. Until next time, deuces.